Yo, 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 Surreal Talk Radio, your man, Calico the Surrealist on WPRK 91.5 FM Winter Park. We kicking it at the dark with our special guest in the building. Hey, right now I got my comedy co-host in here rocking with me tonight. Introduce y'all to him. It's my little cuz exclusive. What's going on, cuz?
Not much, cuz. Chilling like a villain.
Chilling like a villain as always, man. Well, hey, you ready to do this thing tonight?
Of course.
Yes, sir, man. You know we got a hot show lined up tonight. We're going to kick things off with my surreal topic of the day. We got music from around the way. We got our throwback track and my favorite part of the show, the pump it or dump it, where y'all get to call in and decide if the track we play is hot or not, all right? Yo, but now, man, listen. Without any further ado, my special guest chilling with us tonight, this brother right here is a member of the first hip-hop group to become mainstream stars, creator of the first rap song to be played on the radio, the first hip-hop single to become a top 40 Billboard hit on the charts there. I'm talking about the legendary Sugarhill gang, and we got Master G on the line. You there, bro?
Hello, brother. Hello. Our family.
Yes, sir, man. Hey, man, it's so great to hear from you, man. This is such a surreal moment for me. You know, this is Surreal Talk Radio, but to have a legend like you on the line right now is crazy, bro.
I concur with that.
Thankful.
I concur with that.
I'm thankful and grateful every day.
Thankful and grateful.
Consider me that way, you know. Really.
Yeah, man. I know you probably hear it a million times that you a legend, man, but what else can we say, man? You know what I mean? Like the work that you don't put in and the history that you've made, bro, like legend, you're the epitome of the word.
Pioneer.
God bless you, man. No, well, I think that, to have an opportunity to grace the world with, something that I was doing at 15 years old and, people's basements in New Jersey and dance halls and, never aspiring to do that. And then it be, connected to the fiber of society is a pretty humbling thing. So that's the reason why I really say that I appreciate whatever accolades I get, because that wasn't the game plan initially going out.
Nah, I totally understand that, man. Hey, man, sometimes, some people are just destined to be what they destined to be, man, and you definitely...
That's the truth.
Yeah, man, for sure. But yeah, man, you ready to get it going tonight, though?
Oh, yeah, I'm ready. Let's make it happen, yes. All right. Absolutely.
I love it, man. All right, we're going to kick things off with my surreal topic of the day. My topic tonight is style biting. I want to talk about style biting. Yeah, man. And this right here is this has always been a topic and an issue in hip hop from the very beginning, man. No matter whether coming from the DJs. I'm not so sure about breakdancing and graffiti because I was born in '79, but I'm sure people was biting people's moves, trying to steal people's moves and stuff like that, so on and so forth. But when it comes to the MCing, style and originality has always been a sacred thing, you know what I mean? And, so I want to talk about that. And, like back in the day even back in going to the kindergarten, you know how it was, like if you was an artist, if you could draw, if you was that one that couldn't draw, what you do, you trace somebody else, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
so they say that imitation is the biggest form of flattery. I want to ask you something about that quote right there. Imitation is the biggest form of flattery. Do you believe that to be true or false?
I believe it to be true, actually. I mean, when you create something and people are, blown away to the point where they want to try to get in that same space, that's the biggest compliment that anybody can pay you for something that came from you. Everybody doesn't have the ability. Everybody's born with the same thing, but everybody doesn't always have the same ability to be able to process those things. So when you see somebody else doing it, you feel like, okay, well, at least I could kind of go off that energy and possibly maybe create my own energy from that. So that's why I feel that imitation is the biggest form of flattery, because there's so many great people out there doing some amazing things. And we've already seen that, people will, go out and imitate it.
Yeah, man. I don't know, man. I struggle with that one. I have a big issue with people despite my style, man, I just can't really get take it as a compliment. That's just me where I'm at with it though.
I get it.
Yeah, man. Because what you think, man, about people biting your style? You think that's flattery to you, or?
It's flattering if you use the style and create your own originality from it. But if you just take the formula and run with it like it's your own, then
Yes.
You just doing my moves. Yeah.
That's different. Yeah. Now you take it and you see it's yours.
Yeah.
Then no. Then now you're being disrespectful. But if you say, like so and so would have said, or in the vein of this individual, then you're
Yeah.
You're making sure that you let people know this came from somewhere.
Right, paying homage. Yeah, definitely, man. So it's a couple of things I want to talk about. I want to exploit this surreal topic a little bit before we get into chopping it up with you. Let me see. How do I want to do this, man? Let's talk about one of the things when you talk about style biting comes to mind is culture vultures. This is a terminology that's pretty recent. People, they're culture vultures. I wanted to ask you specifically from your time frame. Let's talk about the Beastie Boys for a second.
Okay.
Some people would look at them and say they're culture vultures. Would you agree to that? Would you say they're culture vultures, or how would you describe them coming to
Beastie Boys?
Yes, sir.
Influence. I think music is universal. I don't think there's really color lines when it comes to music.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Hall & Oates. Let's use Hall & Oates for example. I don't know. A lot of you listeners might not know who Hall & Oates is, but they're an R&B duo, and they're two Caucasian guys, and they sing like soul brothers. But there are many different aspects of music, and I think music touches people in a different way. And I don't believe in color. I never really did. I know it exists. I know that the issue is out there, and it's a real thing. But I also know that for every bad situation, there's a good situation. So I really tend to try to blur the lines when it comes to that, especially when it comes to music, because, again, being fortunate enough to travel the world, I've been in many different parts of the world where I didn't even think people understood what we were doing, and they got it in spades. So that gave me a different outlook on different colors doing music. I learned by being in Russia. Poland, let's say. I was in the former USSR, like Estonia and the countries like that, where it doesn't matter. It just matters what a person feels.
Yeah.
But it's hard sometimes to really get that if you don't have a chance to go to these different places, like Poland or, like Slovenia, like Croatia, a lot of those countries, until you see it actually physically happening yourself, you don't really understand that, it translates. It doesn't matter where it is. It just matters who gets it and what they do with it. Right.
Yeah. And me and Cuz was talking on our way up here to the station. And I was saying, like, in the foundational moments of hip hop, you guys, in what I'm calling style biting or, imitating or however you want to look at it, I was thinking, I made reference to kind of like the Bible, like Adam and Eve were the first people on earth. So if they were the first people, of course they would, in order to, procreate, they would have to have been doing like incest or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Because they're the only people. Yeah. So in order to expand, they have to, so it's just, in my mind, that's how it worked with hip hop, starting in New York and then, trickle over there where y'all at in Jersey and, just kind of like, so would it be considered style biting or imitating or something, or were you just influenced? Like, what's the line between?
No, it's influence. It's totally influence, because what happened is when I heard about it, I still translated it in a way where it was still a representation of who I am. It's like, I'm a drummer. Uh-huh. Okay, I started playing drums when I was 7 years old. So the first time I heard somebody rap, I heard the words as beats. Mm-hmm. So when I started writing lyrics and I started developing a cadence, my cadence came from the rhythms that I hear as a drummer. Everybody wasn't doing that. They weren't doing that, but they were rhyming. They were putting words together, making sentences, telling stories. So that was the influence I got. But the outcome of it was my interpretation of what I was influenced. Well, what influenced me.
Definitely, man. I definitely can't wait till we start talking about, your creative process and stuff like that. I definitely want to get to that for sure. But then, as far as back to this, style biting topic, that was such a huge thing to where they actually put stuff in place. I mean, copyrights and stuff like that was in other genres of music as well, but it was definitely a thing that a lot of hip hop, man, it's so many copyright cases, infringement cases and stuff like that from people that's basically jacking other people's music and stuff like the lyrics and just flow, everything, just when it comes to style in general, all of that, man. And so I wanted to ask you a real question before we kind of get off of this subject here.
Okay.
How important to you is it for a rapper to write their own rhymes?
I think it completes the picture. I think that, again, the way that I interpreted what a real rapper, I should say, at that point, what I interpreted as what a real rapper is an individual who wrote rhymes and then rapped those rhymes. Mm-hmm. But as the music has evolved and as it has blossomed into the juggernaut that it has become, like many singers, there are a lot of singers who are amazing singers who don't write their own songs, so you have to give it that breathing room for that aspect. But, the determination of what you were in the beginning was, yes, that if you considered yourself a rapper, you wrote your own rhymes.
Okay. So since you used the term real rapper, I wanted to ask you just one quick little question. I don't want to put you on the spot or anything, but I wanted to ask this though. What about a rapper like Eazy-E? Would you consider him a real rapper, even though he didn't write his own rhymes?
I think at that point it was developing into a situation where, like a singer, that aspect had been adjusted. It had been adjusted according to demand. Okay. We're talking about I come from the era where rapping was a street thing. So by the time it got to the West Coast, it was already a business for it. So when you get into a business situation and there's time constraints and people are looking for certain sales, and sometimes people start going back to the basics. And what happened is, once rap became a form of commerce, the relative aspect of the record business came into play. So you can't really put that. Yeah.
Man, I love that answer. I've talked to many people about that, and that's the first time I heard it put that way. I love that answer. That's something I'm gonna cherish, man, from this conversation.
Appreciate that.
For sure. Yeah. All right, man. So what I want to do, man, I just wanted to get the conversation started with that. But I want to go into my next segment right now, the Pump It or Dump It, where I'm going to open up these hotlines and let the people call in. I'm about to play a track, man. I want you to check this song out with us. Give us your critique after we play it. Let us know if we're going to put it on the radio or if we, if they need to go back to the drawing board and do some more work on it. This track right here is from an artist. This is an R&B song, and it's from an artist named Sierra Elise. And the name of this song right here is Need It, right here on Surreal Talk Radio. Check it out. Yo, Surreal Talk Radio, your man, Calico the Surrealist. WPRK, man, we back. I got exclusive in the building. And we got Master G on the line. You still with us, bro?
Yes, I'm here.
All right.
Yes, I'm here.
All right, so the track I just played right there, man, I want to go around the board and see. Anybody, y'all get ready to call in. The phone number is 407-646-2915. Let us know we pumping that thing or dumping it. We finna hear from Master G. What you think about the track I just played, bro?
I thought it was a great combination of syncopated neo soul feel with an independent flavor.
Ooh.
I could go for that.
Well, that's a critique, but I'm sure she gonna value that right there. So I guess I don't have to ask you if we gonna pump it or dump it. That's a pump for you, right?
Oh yeah, that's a bump for me, definitely.
All right,
Oh,
yeah. She had a beautiful voice. Would you say, cuz?
Yes.
Pumping that thing, we dumping it.
We pumping. I liked her voice. It was
Right.
It was almost like a she could sing me to sleep type of voice.
Yeah.
Very melodic, yes. Melodic, yes.
Yeah, she got a really good voice. Yeah. So anyway, like I say, if anybody object or you guys want to call in, I'm gonna open up the hotlines. If y'all want to call in, y'all want to talk about our style biting topic, y'all want to let us know, participate in this pump it or dump it, or if y'all just want to call in with a question for Master G. Remember, we on the radio, no profanity, keep it brief. The phone number again is 407-646-2915. All right, in the meantime, we're going to get real live with my man, Master G, the M-A-S, the T-E-R, the G with the double E.
There you go.
Yeah, man. We got the real Master G in here, man. We got Guy Anthony O'Brien, not no imposters.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow, the real deal. Okay.
Yeah, the real deal, man. Nobody, people out there claiming to be Master G. We going to get to it.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny.
Yeah, man. We got the
funny.
baby of the bunch in the building, man. Let's do it. All right, man. So I want to start it off like this. Question number one is going to be, when were you first introduced to hip hop?
I was introduced to it by an upperclassman at a party in Hackensack, New Jersey in about 1977.
Ooh.
Right around 1977, I went to a party in Hackensack, and I heard the guy who was a DJ rapping. He was rhyming, not rapping. He was rhyming. He was writing on top of the music, and I was DJing. I had just started DJing at the time. Mm-hmm. The cardinal sin as a DJ is never to talk over the music. That's like at that point, that was like the number one no-no. So when I heard him, saying rhymes over the music, I happened to know him personally. So I went up to the table and asked him. I was like, "Hey, Mark, man, what was that you was doing over the music?" And he said, "That's rapping, man. That's what they're doing over in New York." So I was, like I said, I had just started doing a little DJ thing myself in my neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay, well, in order for me to get parties like he was getting parties, I need to start rapping too. So that's what it was. I mean, I was influenced by somebody who was doing the same thing that I was doing, and I wanted to do more of it.
Mm-hmm. So when you say rhyming, in contrast to rapping, is it what is this, like ad-libbing, or is he actually doing like a verse? Or explain that to me.
Well, I don't know if he was doing a verse, but he was rhyming the words, like the beat, the last word of each sentence rhyme, so, and I knew that, and I noticed that, it was different from a regular DJ who I would hear on the radio just talking like we are now. It wasn't that kind of talking. It was more like poetry.
Gotcha.
So that's why I was curious to ask him, what is it that he was doing? And then he again explained to me that because he was older than I was, and he had a car. My mom we were working class people. I couldn't afford a car in high school. And he had a car, and he was able to go into New York because he was older. He's like, that's what they're doing in New York. Uh-huh. And me, like I said, as a 15, 16-year-old kid, I said, okay, well, I need to figure out how to do this. And that's what made me start translating what I heard into my thought process. Mm-hmm. And that's what I came up with as far as the beats is words.
Okay. All right. Cool. So at this point, you were saying this was like 76, 77?
It was 77, yeah.
77. Okay. How do I want to ask this question? Who do you give credit to for actually inventing hip hop?
The South Bronx.
The South Bronx. I mean,
Yeah.
can you be more specific? Can you like give me a person?
The South Bronx is a person, because you have to understand, Kool Herc was in the South Bronx. Melly Mel's in the South Bronx. Starsky was over there in the Bronx. There was so many different personalities, and I don't think it was one person in particular. I think it was that group of individuals that were, in the South Bronx making it happen.
Okay. So if I'm understanding you, you're saying that it was kind of like Voltron. It was basically like different elements, and they kind of came together to form what we term as hip hop.
Yeah, because my inspiration came from something that someone heard from that part, and then when I had a chance to meet those individuals, then it really started making sense. When I heard Melly Mel rap, when I heard Starsky do his thing, when I saw Grandmaster Flash cut, I was like, okay, I see what this is. And it was a combination of all of those people that influenced me to understand what it was that I had the opportunity to do.
So it was a hip hop community.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I got you. I'm following you. All right. So now hip hop was such a new thing at that time. Talk to me about like musical influences. It's probably not going to be hip hop because you guys was forming it, but was there any kind of artists, favorite artists at that time for you?
Yes. Well, like you said, I was in a conversation earlier this evening. I just did a performance in Williamsburg, Brooklyn this evening, right before me doing this interview, because that's where I'm at now. I'm in the New York metropolitan area right now as we speak. But my conversation was that, we come from a time where there was no hip hop on the mute radio. We come from a time where there was no hip hop in the universe, with the exception of the New York metropolitan area.
Right.
So as a child, growing up in the 60s and the 70s, I listened to Smokey Robinson, I listened to Stevie Wonder, I listened to, the 70s and the 80s. Again, I mean the 70s, because I was not only DJing, but I was also a music lover. I listened to Rufus and Chaka Khan, the Ohio Players, Earth, Wind and Fire, Minnie Riperton. These were all, what was playing in my house. These were the songs that I played at the parties. The Cameo, Parliament Funkadelic. That's what I grew up with.
Right.
That was the sound of my youth.
And and we can kind of say that basically that time frame, the 70s, the 60s, the 70s is when, is what is birthing you pioneers, hip hop pioneers. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because
that makes sense.
Most of us that are here now from that time we were born. I was born in 1962. So, and many of us were born during that time, late 50s, early 60s.
Right.
That's when we came into the fold. So, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old, and you're hearing what's on the radio, and you're hearing what your parents are playing, and then eventually, and then at that time also, everybody was in a band. So, it was a lot more musical instruments being played in my generation growing up. So, we were doing what the groups on the radio was doing. For example, again, Earth, Wind and Fire was a band. So, Ohio Players, there was a band, so we said, okay, well, we gonna be a band too. So everybody in my neighborhood, we put together a band.
Right.
And that's what it was.
Okay. Well, we know that, from the way the tales is going, that hip hop started out like street music. Could you describe for us your upbringing? Were you like a street dude or?
No. I was my parents came from Brooklyn and Mount Vernon, and we were a working class family. I moved to the suburbs of New Jersey, and I tell everybody, I spent my life on the George Washington Bridge. If you know anything about New York, George Washington Bridge is the connection between New York and New Jersey. So, my dad's parents lived in Mount Vernon, which is, home of people like Heavy D and, Pete Rock and, all those wonderful people. And then my mom's parents lived in Brooklyn. Of course, we know Brooklyn is Biggie and Jay and all those different people. And we were in like a 10, 15-minute drive from those places. So my whole life, I was back and forth across the George Washington Bridge. So no, I didn't grow up in the projects, but I was in the environment. So, I was in that environment. My family, like I said, we were working class people, and it wasn't, it was interesting. It was different. It was different growing up in those times.
Okay. All right, cool. Let me run a real quick segment right quick, and then we definitely gonna come back to you, man, and get some more about you. But we're gonna run this quick segment right quick. This is the exclusive point of view. Check this out.
This here's gonna be a journey. Better buckle up.
Mama, that man is out here again.
With unique advice on mental fitness, relationships, life, and current events. Welcome to the exclusive point of view.
So, answer this question and see if it makes sense. You want to be in a relationship where it takes communication, trust, rules, and respecting each other's boundaries. But the first person you look for is a bad boy who does not care about any of these things. That's what makes him a bad boy. So why do you think being in a relationship with a bad boy is going to make you happy? How does it make sense to actually be in a happy relationship with someone that doesn't care about rules, limits, or boundaries? You just ask yourself if it makes sense to look for that type of person to want to love. Ask yourself, is it possible to involve myself with something that involves rules with somebody that likes to break them?
There you have it. Exclusive going in. He dropping that knowledge on you.
Bad boys can ruin a good girl. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, yeah, they ain't got their priorities straight. Well, I hope that helps somebody out there, man. We go, we gonna get back with my man Master G here. Pick up where we left off. We was talking about his upbringing, but now I want to ask about his musical adventures here. So, Master G, want to ask you, man, how did you get discovered and take this thing to a commercial level from, basically being a DJ? How did you get it to, actually record labels and things of that nature?
So as a DJ, I had developed a bit of a reputation in my area. And at this point, I was living in a town called Englewood, New Jersey. So I developed a reputation of rapping and scratching. And just on a happenstance, I was walking home, and I saw a friend of mine with a friend of mine, and the friend saw Joey Robinson and Sylvia Robinson. They were in front of the pizza parlor in our neighborhood and found out that they were looking for people who could rap. And because my friend knew that I was a good rapper, he told them, if you want to hear somebody rap, you need to listen to Guy. And so I got in the back of the car, and there was a big dude that we knew from the Bronx in our town with an apron on back there. We knew him as the guy who rapped from the Bronx and made pizzas, and that was Big Bang Hank. He was in the car, and, we were under the impression it was going to be one person. She asked us to both come up to her house, and we both came up to her house and thought, again, we were auditioning for one position. She didn't decide, and then before she left, Mike asked her to listen to him as well. And upon her deciding that 3 was her favorite number, she said she wouldn't choose between the 3 of us. And she said, okay, I'm going to put the 3 of you together. And that's how I got discovered.
So Miss Sylvia Robinson, she had a game plan to specifically go out and make a rap group, or at least a rapper to be commercial.
Well, initially, so what happened, she heard the rap she heard a guy named Starsky. That's why I brought that guy up. Lovebug Starsky. She was at a party in New York City, a place called Harlem World back in the day. And she heard him rapping at the club. And so she asked if it was being recorded. At the time, of course, there was no record. So her having a studio set up, because she came from the doo-wop era. She had a song called Love Is Strange as an artist on her own. She also had another hit called Pillow Talk, and she also produced groups like The Moments and various other R&B kind of singing groups. She had the what and the where. I told you, but she had the insight because she had the facility and knew what the record business was like to say, this is something that should be recorded. And so they were initially going to use one person, and when that person decided not to do the project, they went into like quality control mode to try to find people to take that one person's place. And that's why, she was initially looking for one person, but instead of choosing one, she chose three.
So am I understanding this correct? This one person that she was going to have, was it a rapper?
Yes, he was a rapper, but he chose not to do the project.
Oh,
when they went to go get him, when they went to go pick him up, because they had already been told by a DJ in the area what music was the popular music. That's why it's Good Times is the track, because in the summer of '79, Good Times was the breakbeat of that summer. So the suggestion for Good Times was given to her, and she had musicians record it like it was being cut. That's why there's no lyrics on the tracks, because musicians recorded it as though it was being blended by a DJ. And so when they had that music done, they went to the rapper that they had initially decided was going to do it, and he said, no, my parents don't want me to be a part of this project. And that's when they were like, okay, well, what are we going to do? So somebody had mentioned that Hank, who was making pizzas at the pizza parlor on our main street, he could rap. So that's how they ended up in front of the pizza parlor, listening to him, and then, of course, me walking up on the situation, and one thing led to another. So the guy said no.
Wow, man, that guy turned, looking back at it, he turned down the chance to be
the first cell phone.
Could have been him.
First,
hip hop is like cell phones, like.
Right, man.
They just kept evolving into new things.
Right, man.
Now they got 98 lenses on the back of them.
For sure. Well, listen, man, I definitely want to pick it up a notch here, man. I want to play some music. So I want to play this track right here, man. Of course, y'all already know what it is, man. Got to get a little bit of this and that. These brothers right here, they recorded a whole album in one track, so we ain't going to play the whole thing. we going to play a little bit of this Rapper's Delight. This is a timeless track, man. This joint right here, man, these was like my nursery rhymes growing up. You know what I'm saying? Cool. Like, these was my nursery rhymes as a rap. Because that's
a good way of putting them.
Yeah,
that's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
I mean, it's real.
I've never heard it put that way.
Listen, what I try to do when I do my interviews is, because I rap too, is I always tell my story as well. And this track right here is literally like a nursery rhyme to me. Like, I remember before I even knew what hip hop was, because I was born in '79, the same year you guys recorded this record. So when I was maybe 5-6 years old, something like that, I'm hearing, I would always hear it. And my dad, he had like a little record player. He was a janitor. He used to bring me stuff from the school, and he brought me a little record player. And and I had I had Kool and the Gang. I had the Sugarhill Gang. I had all these Stevie Wonder, all of these records, but I didn't know nothing about hip hop. It was just records that I was just putting on. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so that's why I say these was like nursery rhymes. I mean, it's certain songs from y'all that I hear that I've just been hearing my whole life before it even was a thing that this was hip hop. You know what I'm saying? For me at least. But yeah, man, I want to play some of this. Just for the people, just to give it a soundtrack of what we doing right now. This right here is Rapper's Delight from Sugarhill Gang. Check it out.
I said a hip hop, the hip it to the hip hop. You don't stop the rockin' to the bang bang boogie. Say up jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie to beat. Now what you hear is not a test. I'm rapping to the beat, and me, the groove, and my friends are gonna try to move your feet. You see, I am Wonder Mike, and I like to say hello. Up to the black, to the white, the red, and the brown, the purple, and yellow. But first, I gotta bang, bang, the boogie to the boogie. Say up, jump the boogie to the bang, bang, boogie. Let's rock. You don't stop, rock the rhythm that'll make your body rock. Well, so far you've heard my voice, but I brought two friends along. And next on the mic is my man Hank. Come on, Hank, sing that song.
Check it out, I'm the CASN, the OVA, and the rest is FLY. You see, I go by the code of the doctor of the mix, and these reasons I'll tell you why. You see, I'm 6'1" and I'm tons of fun, and I dress to a T. You see, I got more clothes than Muhammad Ali, and I dress so viciously. I got bodyguards, I got two big cars that definitely ain't the whack. I got a Lincoln Continental and a sunroof Cadillac. So after school, I take a dip in the pool, which is really on the wall. I got a color TV so I can see the Knicks play basketball. Hear me talking my checkbook, could it cost more money than a sucker could ever spend? But I wouldn't give a sucker or a punk from the rock, not a dime till I made it again. Everybody go, hotel, motel, what you gonna do today? Is I'm gonna get a fly girl, gonna get some spank and drive off in a death OJ. Everybody go, hotel, motel, holiday inn. See, if your girl starts acting up, then you take her friend. I'm Master G, my mellow is on you, so what you gonna do?
Well, it's on and on and on and on and on. The beat don't stop until the break of dawn. I said a M-A-S, a T-E-R, a G with a double E. I said I go by the unforgettable name of the man they call a Master G. Well, my name is known all over the world by all the foxy ladies and the pretty girls. I'm going down in history as the baddest rapper there ever could be. Now I'm feeling the highs and you're feeling the lows. The beat starts getting into your toe. You start popping your fingers and stomping your feet and moving your body while you're sitting and you're sitting. Then damn, you start doing the freak. I said bam, I ride it out of your seat. Then you throw your hands high in the air. You rock it to the rhythm, shake it dairy air. You rock it to the beat without a care. Cruise the short shot MCs for the affair. Now I'm not as tall as the rest of the gang, but I rap to the beat just the same. I got a little face and a pair of rhyme eyes. All I'm here to do, ladies, is hypnotize. Sing it on and on and on and on and on. The beat don't stop until the break of dawn. I sing it on and on and on and on and on like a hot butter. The pop, the pop, the pop, give it, pop, the pop, pop. You don't dare stop, but come alive, y'all. Give me what you got. I guess by now you can take a hunch and find that I am the baby of the bunch, but that's okay. I still keep in stride, cause all I'm here to do is just a wiggle your behind. Sing it on and on and on and on. The beat don't stop until the break of dawn. I sing it on and on and on and on and on. Rock, y'all. Throw it on the floor. I'm gonna freak you here, I'm gonna freak you there. I'm gonna move you out of this atmosphere, cause I'm one of a kind and I'll shock your mind. I put the jiggers in your behind. I say the 1, 2, 3, 4, come on, girls, get on the floor. Come alive, y'all, give me what you got, cause I'm guaranteed to make you rock. I said 1, 2, 3, 4, tell me Wonder Mike, what are you waiting for? To the hip.
Yo, yeah, man, I just wanted to play a little bit of that right there, because there's no way we gonna sit here and eat up all our time listening to that long one.
Yeah, no, it's a long one.
Yeah, man. I definitely want to talk about it, though, man. Off the air, we was talking about, basically how this is a timeless track, man. This was recorded in 1979. And I know for a fact, man, this joint still go. You could, get the party started. You could throw this in the mix. And to this day, people can still vibe to it and dance and all of that. And it's tracks that's coming out now. And the stuff is so microwave because artists will be fired for 2-3 months, and then they put that record on the shelf, and then you know what I mean.
Shelf life.
It don't have no lifespan to it, But yeah, man. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. What I see going on with music these days versus that. But let's talk about the creative process for this record right here, man.
Right. Yes, absolutely.
When you brothers got together in that studio, did y'all already have these rhymes written? Was y'all freestyling off the top of the head? What was going on?
Okay, so Mike decided that he was going to describe what we were doing. Because again, you have to understand, we were the first. There was no really template. So what you hear is not a test. There was a show. It was called The Outer Limits.
Right.
So they used to say, this is not a test. Don't attempt to adjust your television for the next, 30 minutes. We're going to be controlling what's going on. So from that television show, he came up with what you hear is not a test. We're rapping to the beat. And then what's happening? Well, me, the groove, and my friends are going to try to move your feet. Well, who are you? Well, I am Wonder Mike. And I'd like to say hello. You want to say hello to who? The black, the white, the red and the brown, the purple and yellow. But first I got it. So then, and then after he said that, next on the mic is the next guy that's up here.
Yeah.
And, he passed it to Hank.
Yeah, y'all was relaying that thing.
Yeah. And then he passed it to Hank. And then, once Hank said what he said, for me, I knew that people weren't going to see us initially. They were going to hear us. Uh-huh. So I decided to write something that would introduce me to everybody. So, it's on and on, but I'm the MAS, so people know my name.
Yeah.
I'm the MAS, the TER, the G with a double E. I wanted to spell it out.
Yeah. So
you know that I'm the man I go by the name of the man they call the Master G. My name is known all over the world by all the fox ladies and pretty girls. I'm going down in history as the baddest little rapper they could ever be. That was a flat out lie.
Hey man, but I would tell you this though, that was brilliant, man. Like y'all, the record was so organic and it was so, man, it's got its place in history. Like the way y'all did it.
Well, that's it. We were doing it in an effort to describe what was actually happening. So that's why the lyrics were written in that manner. Everything in that song lyrically was all in an effort because you didn't have a video to support a song. Yeah. So initially that was another reason why most of the rhymes that I write, even to this day, they always have some sort of storyline to them because we wrote rhymes like an author writes a book. You have to use the words to describe, to give you the vision. So if I tell you I'm not as tall as the rest of the gang, but I rap to the beat just the same, I got a little face and a pair of brown eyes. When you see us performing, I'm the baby of the bunch. So the little guy is Master G right off the rip. You know that because I explained that to you in words.
Right.
So that was all predetermined. I did all of that to make sure that people would know who I was between Mike and Hank.
Okay. Now you guys are rapping and you guys are like basically this is like the first kind of rap cipher. You guys are coming back to back and you doing your thing. Back then there was no punching, there was no all of these tracks and stuff like that. How was y'all?
No, there was punching. It was punching. You could punch in.
Oh, you could punch in. Okay.
Yeah, you could punch in, but there was no digital ability. You didn't have, everything was manual. Everything you had to do, if you messed up, a lot of times you would just have to start all over again. It would be very few punching, but you could punch. Yeah.
Okay.
They definitely had punching back in
All right. So this song is so long. Was there a lot of that going on, or was y'all? Like I say, you got to
remember we're the first one. So there wasn't nothing going on. That was it. We had never recorded before. So neither one of us had ever really been in the studio recording. I had been around studios and in studios, but I had never been recorded as a vocalist in the studio. Mike and Hank had never been in the studio. So the music was initially just laid down. So the musicians laid down the music and they just played. Nobody told them to stop. They played what they played. Once it was over, it was over. So when we got in the studio and they pressed record, Mike passed it to Hank. Hank passed it to me. I passed it back to Mike because the music kept going. Mike passed it back to Hank. Hank passed it to me. I passed it back to Mike. Mike passed it to Hank. Hank passed it to me. Well, the reason why we stopped is only because the music stopped.
Yeah,
we didn't know.
I was messing
with a one-take run.
I was messing with Cuz on the way up here. I was like, that last verse that you did, it sounded like you was kind of, like you was kind of out of breath and stuff.
Well, I was kind of like just rock. I was freestyling. It was
right. That's what I was saying.
The Age of One, like Frankie Crocker and Stereo, like Johnny Carson on the radio show. like the Barcade singing Holy Ghost, Sounds to Throw Down, and Definitely the Most. All of that was kind of like ad-lib stuff.
Right.
You know, there was pieces of it that I had used in parties. The
Right.
Age of One rap, I used to use that in the party, like Johnny Carson on the Late Show, like Frankie Crocker in Stereo. Those are pieces that I used, but a lot of it was, you know, just keep it going. You know, we were kind of at the end of it. Basically, we didn't know. We just like, okay, well, they passed it back to me. I'm gonna keep going. And then, you know, we didn't stop until the music stopped. And nobody. And that's the other thing. The people that supposedly knew what recording was about, they were in the control booth and they weren't telling us to stop. We just kept going.
Yeah, it was like, we gonna get all these rhymes. All right, so I'm gonna ask you some questions, man, kind of choppy, so we can get them in and get them out. This, you said the music was already there. I want to ask you, because this was a sample though, right?
No,
No.
that's what I'm saying. She initially there was a group called Positive Force that had a record called We Got the Funk. And they were the group that she was actually working with at that time.
Okay.
So she went and once she got the information about the Good Times music, she went into the studio and said, you know, I want you to record this. And that's so they heard Good Times and they went in the studio and they laid it down, but they didn't put any vocals on it because the way that it was given to us, that's what the DJ did. He took 2 records and extended the instrumental part so the rapper could rap on top of it. So she saw that and she heard that and she was like, okay, well, you guys just play the instrumental. So she just took it. They took a song and made an instrumental out of it so that the rapper could get on and do his thing. So no samples. There was no such thing as even a sample. There wasn't even anything to be able to sample at that time.
Okay, so when you mentioned Good Times, is this like a replayed element of it, or why do you call it Good Times?
Because the name of the initial song was a song by a group called Chic, and that's what they called it, Good Times.
Right.
That was the name of the song. The original song that Chic recorded that we used at the parties was Good Times, and so that's the name of the song.
So that the part that we hear on you guys' song, is that like a replayed element of that song, or?
So that's just it's an extended version of a much shorter piece of that song.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm wondering. So how were you said Chic? How receptive were they to you guys doing this, or did you guys get permission to do that, or how did that?
That was one of the great battles early on, is when the record came out. Because we were young and we didn't understand all the politics of business, we didn't know the deal, and they were supposed to be on top of that. So there was a bit of a riff between Chic and our situation. So we eventually kind of came to some sort of agreement, and things moved on. But it was a little touchy at first because, you know, the record, the proper procedure wasn't done initially to put things in effect. Okay. That's the best way to put that.
All right. And the agreement that you guys came to, was everybody satisfied with that?
Well, the record's still playing today.
Okay. Well, hey. All right, cool. So then, we hear the rumors of Big Bank Hank's verse being written by Grandmaster Caz. That there, wow. That was some very good plagiarism, man. He nailed this brother's writings. He nailed it to the T. Like, he was very good at delivering it.
Yes, he was.
Was Grandmaster Caz was he ever compensated for that?
I'm not sure what the deal is with Caz and them, but because again, here's the thing about that. We're talking about the first commercially successful record ever. So there was no template for that moving forward. You know, when the information came down to do the song, you know, allegedly Hank went to Caz and said, hey, look, you know, I'm going to do a record in Jersey. Could I use some of your raps? Well, Hank had already been using the raps. So he just, you know, he went over there, and Caz, because now you can't even conceive, for example, you can't conceive of me coming to you and say, hey, man, I want to do a record. I want to use your rhymes. You'll be like, whoa, hold up, man. You know, you got to give me writers credits. You got to give me, you know, publishing. All this has got to be established. Right. There was nobody knew anything about that at the time. So when Caz was like, yeah, go ahead and do it. No, but he didn't anticipate that was going to be the outcome of it, you know. Right. So the situation moving forward, what happened is virtually almost unattainable, because there were pretty much things already done and the motion was done, and it started really going into different layers with Chic, and there were a lot of different veils to, what happened with the business part of the song.
Right. And that song blew up, man. It was a huge hit. And I want to ask you, did you guys ever feel any kind of pressure to try to, make another record on that level?
No.
Never?
No.
Okay.
No. Again, you don't know at 17, 18 years old what, people are expecting of you. You're not aspiring. You don't even understand the ideal of being, a star, or, now you got to put out a sophomore record, and, people that want to know what's happening, and, can you match what you did? I was a 19-year-old kid. I was having, the time of my life. I became, the people that I saw on Soul Train, I became those people. So,
right.
It was something that I was doing for $50 for house parties and $100 at the dance hall. That
right.
Now I was making, thousands.